nerding out a little bit now in the jiu-jitsu thing, and you've been very nice with your time. But man, like, so you made me feel like I wasn't crazy. We were talking about this earlier because I heard you on another podcast saying, man, as soon as I land in some new state or country, the first thing I do is I Google jiu-jitsu around me and I see who's around there. And it's literally all I do. I'm always like, where am I speaking? Where am I going? Where's the mastermind? And I look at everybody around there. I hit out. And again, this is a great thing to tie into this whole discussion. But dude, I'll hit up 10, 15 gyms that, like some places it's easier. Some places you can't tell if it's a real jujitsu guy. And like some of that's popping up again now where I'm like, I don't think this guy. But you look at it, you look at the lineage, you see if there's anybody that's connected to anybody you know. And then I do a little bit of a deep dive on it. Do any UFC fighters train here? Any jujitsu champions I know train here? Any guys that came through? And then when I hit up 10, 15 of them, like 3 of them will actually like respond to me, dude. It's crazy. Like I'll have to call 3, 4, 5 times sometimes. And eventually I'll get a few of them to write back. And then what'll happen is then I'll have to be like, hey, can you train at like 5:36? And they're like, PM? And I'm like, nope. And then click. And I'll get like 1 or 2 guys that are like, all right, we'll get up in the morning. And then it just becomes one of those things where like, dude, some of them are so great. Like I just went to I was in Virginia and I was trying to find another place to train. And I don't want to mess up his name, but Abmar Barbosa has a jiu-jitsu school out there. And I hit him up and he was like, I won't be there. I got stuff going on. But he spent like the rest of the day calling other black belts in the area he knew, found one that would get up and train with me, and gave the guy the key to the gym and let the guy go do a training session with me early in the morning at his academy that wasn't even his. And I was like,
That's
dude, because of
amazing
that,
experience.
next time I come into town, I'm coming right to your spot. Like those are the things that you remember and stuff. But then it's a little intimidating because you're like, I don't know who this Brazilian guy is that's coming in here. Is it going to be weird? You know what I mean? Because then people here, it was almost easier when I was like, I'm a blue belt. Now I'm like, I'm a black belt. Sometimes they're like, well, why are you coming? Like, I've had guys after I come in for the private be like, dude, you're really cool. And I'm like, thanks. Like, I thought you were coming here to challenge me. I was like, I paid you in advance. Why would I Venmo you if I was going to come? But you know what I mean? But like, it's
Right.
weird sometimes. So talk about your experience, man, going on the road, training with the different places, the mental side, the physical side. And then it always turns into a beautiful relationship, man. I've made some of the best friends from just meeting a stranger at a gym at dark hours in the morning and just learning from each other for an hour. And then that's a bond that's there for life.
Yeah, so it's incredible. So how that started for me, which is really interesting, is I would go to work, and you know how you kind of you put everything in during those 8 to 10 hours that you're in that office, right? So I travel, I'd go to one of the offices that I was responsible for, or whatever. I'd have meetings all day, I'd have round tables, I'd let them tell me all their complaints about how we treat our employees or whatever it may be, customer complaints, whatever, and I'd have all these great solutions. And then in many cases, they'd say, hey, you want to go out to dinner and have some drinks? And for a while, the answer was yes. And then I started getting a little soft in the middle, started feeling like the next morning, then I felt like crap. So instead, I say, no, you know what? We spent 8 to 10 hours today together. You go home to your family. I'm going to go find a gym and train. And then what's great is you go to a gym, you train, and you spend what I'll call mat talk, right? You do your rounds, you do whatever, and you stay after and you help clean the mats, and you're talking to whoever else is now like still engaged, and you create this relationship, and now you follow each other, your friends on Facebook. Next time I travel, I know I want to come there. If they're ever in this area, they can come here. I see them in Costa Rica at a camp, whatever it may be. Like you said, you create these like everlasting relationships from 5 minutes of trying to kill each other. It's so cool.